Hi guys, Luke here of SimBoxx in association with Adrenaline Performance and Clint Patrick. Delighted to be joined this evening by Joe Gallagher. Joe, how are we doing?
Not too bad. Nice to see you again.
Yeah, always a pleasure, Joe. So let's get straight into things. We're just off the back of a busy weekend of boxing at the Manchester Arena. First and foremost, he was in the arena. I dare say you've never seen it that empty unless you've been in there before a couple of fights and had a little nosy around before the fans are in there. But yeah, take us through, first off, the situation in the arena with no fans.
Yeah, it was quite. Marcus Morrison made a point. So it's just like normal for me because he's been first on the shows many a times, and I think one fight it was over, he knocked someone out, and his fans were just coming in as they're announcing decisions. So Marcus was all right, to be fair. Yeah, it was just weird, but I'll tell you what, they dressed it up well with the banners and everything else, and the ring walk, and I think the time the Katie Taylor fight and Natasha fight between myself and Ross and Brian Peters, I think we did enough shouting for 20,000 in there anyway, mate. So yeah, it was great. And listen, as far as my two charges, Marcus and Natasha, I thought they did very well. Both weren't expected to do as good as they did. I thought Marcus showed really good ring IQ early on. And then when Chris came, he could have shut him down a little bit earlier, but he did later on in the fight. When Chris wanted to go, Marcus went with him. If he'd just done it a little bit earlier, he might have saved himself one or two other punches. But yeah, he acquitted himself well, Marcus. He's maturing all the time. He's getting better all the time. And I was usually proud of him in the fact that it was a win-win situation. His stock has risen in his performance. And yeah, no, he can come again. And there was no shame in his performance against a world champion and a dangerous fighter in Eubank Jr.
Yeah, absolutely. So let's get into that first fight. A very gutsy performance, as you say, from Marcus Morrison. Something I wanted to touch on and get your opinion, Joe. In the post-fight interviews, Chris Eubank alluded to the fact that he felt he could have took Marcus out there in the second round, but he wanted the fight to go on a few more rounds to kind of test the relationship, the budding relationship between himself and Roy Jones Jr., who was in the corner for the first time. What do you make of that?
Listen, Chris, he tries to say, I don't think that's the case at all. Because it didn't look like that when he was trying to exchange and really take him out. And when Marcus was firing back, he wasn't engaging. He wanted to pull out. So, listen, Chris is Chris. He'll say what it is. But he knew when he was in there how hard Marcus hit. And that was orchidology. Listen, he went to come for Marcus numerous times, but Marcus's feet stepping out of range, stepping to the side, keeping him off balance, kept Chris Eubank thinking all the time. So yeah, listen, don't try and discredit Marcus Morrison's performance. I mean, Marcus did well, and Chris, if you thought you could have took him out in 2 rounds, you would have done. You didn't.
As we know with Marcus, you know, he's always in fantastic shape. He's always body beautiful. But do you think that performance on Saturday, although it was a loss, like you say, it was a win-win, do you think he ticked more boxes coming out of that fight? You know, he's questions over maybe his heart or his stamina, given that some of his losses in the past. But he went in there with a seasoned operator in Chris Eubank, you know, a guy that's operated at the higher level. And again, he acquitted himself very well. Do you think he takes a lot more than just being in there with Chris Eubank from this fight moving forward?
Yeah, 100%. In the preparation, the build-up for the fight, the discipline, the focus for the training camp. And they're the type of fights that you come out and you want to be involved in again because you're on a learning curve. You don't want to go back down to 2, 4 rounds and 6 and 8 rounders. You want to keep at that level, like Natasha said with her fight with Katie. She wants to stay there because it's like when you're a good amateur and you're on the amateur circuit or the GB, you're fighting the national champions from the country all the time. So you never drop down. Your performance has got to be on par every time. And I say Marcus now, he'll want to get out and we'll see what happens. We'll have a look at the British scene now. And I'd say that performance from Marcus as well, it'll put him up a few places in the rankings and opportunities could come his way.
Yeah, absolutely. Does, you know, speaking of titles and things like that, does he still keep hold of his WBC Silver International title? Is that still around his waist?
Yeah, he's still got that at the moment, as far as I'm aware of. Yeah, because it was done at 11 stone 8. Yeah, that was done at 11 stone 8, not 11.6.
Right, interesting. So yeah, let's get on to the next fight, the second of your charges. Natasha Jonas, excuse me, the fight of the night without question against Katie Taylor. And, you know, sometimes, Joe, these fights can be hyped up beyond belief and the kind of can't match that kind of hype, but this surpassed everything we expected. It was 9 years in the making. Yourself, Eddie Hearn, the whole Sky Sports team, you know, they drummed up the interest in this fight. And for many, it was the main event, and it really did deliver. Natasha Jonas fell agonizingly short. Come the final bell, where was you on the decision? Did you feel like you had it, or did you really think that?
I just said to Natasha in the corner, I said to her, this is close, Tash. It could be one round you, one round or a draw. It's very close. I won't say it's like Leonard and Hagler. It is to an extent. It's what you like. Do you like Hagler's shots that had more power and putting in, or did you like Leonard's shoe shining? And it was very much like this. Katie Taylor, she knew that last half minute she had to win that round. There was a chance of it, and you can tell by that in the corners. Listen, like I said, we made enough noise for 20,000 there. My mic just must have been closer to mine, because believe me, Brian Peters and Ross were shouting just as much, and Katie's mum. But it was a good fight. So it's what you liked. Obviously, when Natasha opened up and she hit the body, you could see everyone going, wow, wow, wow. And she did buzz Katie a couple of times. And then you've seen Katie coming with her rushes. Tasha was taking them, a lot of them on arms and gloves. She'd get caught with a few of them, but it's what you look for. And I think that's fair play to the judges. They did their job, and they scored it as they saw it. So, yeah, it was a good fight. The shame it wasn't 12-2s or it wasn't 10-3s. And I said to the Sky the other day, it'd be great to see a rematch with the crowd. And I feel people say, oh, it shouldn't be. But that years ago, people fought each other 3 times, 5 times because it was a good fight. And Natasha and Katie, who else is there for Katie to fight? Orton's a Serrano. But over here, do you know what I mean, on a profile, imagine that in a packed out Liverpool Echo Arena or in Birmingham or over in Dublin. Unbelievable atmosphere with a crowd. And it makes good sense for Katie, good sense for Tasha. It wasn't a 98-92 fight. No one got knocked out and got a rematch. Do you know what I mean? It's like people getting knocked out and get rematches. Tasha and Katie, it was a good fight. And if there would have been 12, 15 rounds, we still would be watching it. It was that entertaining. It was back and forth. And they both bring the best out of each other. Full credit to the pair of them. And I would love to see it again. Brian Peters said they'll do it again. Katie Taylor said she'd do it again. Problem we've got now, though, is that obviously we all know Katie is an Eddie Hearn fighter. Natasha Jonas isn't. And it's whether, like you see with the Terry Harper, they all promised a rematch, but they all ran to the hills and they don't want to give it her. And they took Tasha for Katie because they thought, like a lot of people, Katie would go through Natasha, and she's nearly derailed the two girls up to now. So why would they risk that? So hopefully Natasha doesn't get frozen out into the wilderness again. Tasha has said she'll do 130 to 140. As I even mentioned, McCaskill, she just wants to fight for a world title. And when you look at who other people are fighting to become world champions, and you see how Tasha is having a fight to become a world champion, it's like she's fighting the Lomas and the Canelos of the division, isn't she? And yeah, the Katie Taylor, that's the fight she wants. Katie Taylor's like people are saying the pound for pound number 1. Natasha Jonas was either round 9 or half a minute away in round 10 from winning that fight. That's how close we are. And then when people say, no, Gallagher shouting, well, you got to explain. Some fighters need it, and the best way of explaining it, that's whether you're a football manager, whether you're Mourinho, Klopp or Ferguson, and you're on that touchline, no silly passes, no giving the ball away. To get the bollocking, because the coaches are an intense, animated. These moments don't come every often. You've got to get the win. There's no time for slip-ups. And some fighters don't need it, and some do. And sometimes Natasha was doing things wrong, and she wasn't capitalising on them when the opportunities presented themselves. And you have to ram it home, and that's what it is. It's not me shouting like an idiot. The thing is we all grew up watching Brendan Ingle. We all grew up listening to Brendan Ingle through the TV sets more than anyone, getting in other fighters' heads. So it's nothing new in the game, and it's just been like a football manager on the touchline, like I said here, being animated, being intense, and wanting that win and making sure the fighters and the players are fully focused at all time. You can't switch off in boxing because, especially 2-minute rounds, 1 or 2 shots, you've lost the round. And I think Natasha Jonas, if there was 2 females, I said it before the fight, that you'd want to see in the 3-minute fight, it'd be these 2, because you would appreciate them even more then for the pro styles that they've become. than there were as amateurs. Natasha is she's a bigger puncher now, her body punching, her weight, her power would be good. And it must allow Katie to settle down a little bit and show her pro stuff more. I feel personally Katie's still a lot of amateur traits, but she's learning and but I think the 3 minutes would allow both of them. That'd be a rematch over 10 threes would be a great fight.
I was going to say
headline fight as well. And I think both girls need that headline fight, and they should have been the other night.
Yeah, absolutely. But there's a few things there that you said that I wanted to go into. But if there was a preference to 12 twos or 10 threes, do you lean either way on that, Joe? Do you prefer one or the other? Or does Tasha prefer one over the other?
Yeah, yeah. See, I mentioned Tasha and Katie because of the skill set, the Olympians, worlds, everything else. But then you to go and put two other girls in at 10, 12 threes, could get hurt. They're not the skill set or whatever. Do you understand? It's a very fine line. I do feel for championships undisputed, if you've got to keep it at 2 minutes, then make it 12 twos. There's a difference. There's got to be to add that little. No, this is a bit like the old championship 15 rounds. This is your rounds 10 to 12 is the old school 15 for girls, or you go 10 threes, one of the two, if that makes sense. I mean, I do feel for a magnitude where all the belts are on the line. Yeah, definitely.
You know, with Natasha Jonas, she went ever so close against Terry Harper, of course, and now Katie Taylor. Is there if you could hang your hat on one name or the other when it comes to rematches, if you could take one fight for Natasha Jonas next, is your preference between the two?
Katie Taylor, every day. Every day, Katie Taylor. Katie Taylor's the pound for pound number one. She's got all the belts, and that's what Tasha strives for. Tasha knows she can live at that level. She's not that far away from it. The Terry Harper thing, listen, we fought her, we beat her. You had Sky the other night. Everyone knows that she won that. She's done that. We've tried to do the rematch. They're not interested. They ran to the hills, and they're doing their thing. So Tasha moved up in weight and took on Katie. So they don't want no part in Natasha Jonas. They're not got to say, yeah, we'll fight Tasha after watching Tasha push the pound for pound number one close to the day. So that's out of the equation. It's Katie Taylor all day. That's what we're gunning for, or above. I mean, they don't want no. I said it in an interview. They must be hiding behind the settee watching that performance of the day. Do you know what I mean? They had opportunities to make that fight and they didn't want it. And after that the other night, because let's have it right, the fight was made for Tasha to get done. So Tasha, the problem would be gone away. So Terry didn't have to concentrate. Now Tasha's done better than what everyone thought. It's like, oh shit. Well, that Katie Taylor, Terry Harper fight that they were trying to construe is like, well, hang on a minute. What about Natasha Jonas? You understand? So I think that there's been better proper possibilities of Terry Harper and Steffi Bull. Steffi Bull won't put Terry Harper nowhere near Tasha. And Brian Peters will put Katie Taylor with Natasha.
Yeah, it's good to hear. So, you know, either fight would be exciting as a fan of boxing. But with Tasha Jonas, we know there's a lot of life left in Tasha yet. You know, there's nowhere near the end of her career and she's got a lot left to go on and achieve. But should she, you know, fail to win a world title, it'd be a real crying shame with the likes of, you know, in the years previous, Jamie Moore or Harold Graham, great fighters that never won a world title. And as I say, Michael Brody from Manchester as well, good shout. It'd be a real shame for Tasha to add her name to that kind of list, given that her world titles shops or world title opportunities have come against the likes of Katie Taylor and Terry Harper, undefeated champions. And as you say, in the women's game, some people have won titles, with all due respect, against lesser opponents. It'd be a real shame should Natasha Jonas finish her career without.
Yeah, well, and you've got to remember as well, Natasha, she's not the home fighter. She was the away fighter against Terry, and she was the away fighter with Katie. And the scorecards are that close. Now, in amateur boxing, if you lose on them close scorecards, really, you've won. Do you understand? So as an away fighter, she's produced them scorecards. So make her that how you want. Yeah, it is what it is. She's 36. She's 37 next month. And we keep saying she's like a Benjamin Button. And from a coaching point of view, she's getting better all the time. She's learning. She's on a curve. She loves fighting at the top level. Attention. She's one of the best I've ever trained. She's absolutely a brilliant student. She really is. I can't sing the praises enough as a student.
It's really good to hear. Me wait to see where Natasha Jonas goes to next. Joe, I wanted to get a quick word on the fight week bubble, the environment of being in the Crown Plaza in Manchester, on our doorstep here in Manchester, of course, but full of big characters. And we've seen on the Friday, Derek Chisora, Joseph Parker clashing over the ring box. How did that affect such a volatile situation already? Was you affected by that at all? Do you kind of just keep away and do your own thing with Tasha?
Yeah, no, like you say, there's a little area where everyone plays a bit of table tennis or pool in the day, and then a lot of them we don't see them. Everyone's just in the rooms. Everyone's in the rooms, just like relaxing, chilling out. They're bringing the fire sticks, but Netflix, Xbox, PlayStations, whatever. Everyone's just chilling out. That they have the times and the diaries for doctors and medicals and media obligations, and breakfast time is when you usually see everyone, when everyone's in the breakfast hall. And Spider-Man popped out the other day, didn't he? Like, do you know what I mean? So yeah, no, there's none of that. Everyone, it is. Do you know what I mean? For Marcus and Natasha, it was like, wow, there's Roy Jones, there's Buddy McGirt. Do you know what I mean? It was something having, especially Roy Jones. It's like, wow, Roy Jones in Manchester. I said it at the presser. It's like, welcome to Manchester. Like Roy Jones. It's like he could be really right up there as one of the pound for pound best fighters there ever was. Do you know what I mean? He's right up in the conversation. If he would have retired on the Ruiz win, who would say he wasn't? So yeah, and what a nice fella he was. But yeah, no, it was all good. The fighters aren't up late of a night time. They're all in the rooms, and whatever goes on, God knows it'll be between just like the media people or downstairs in the bar or whatever. Do you know what I mean? So no one ever sees anything anyway.
So you hit the nail on the head there, to be honest, Joe. As you know, I'm from Manchester myself, and it was almost like they was so close yet so far. And being from Manchester, I heard you in the press conference, and you welcomed Roy Jones Jr. to Manchester, and I was in Manchester on the Saturday afternoon, and I just felt like usually you'd be hanging around with a camera or with a glove to get signed, and
yeah,
it must have felt really almost like you was almost in like a goldfish bowl that you could see everything out, but nobody was coming in, kind of thing.
Yeah, it was. When we left to go to the arena, there was a good crowd outside the hotel, as you said there, with autograph books and pictures and gloves, all waiting to get Roy Jones Jr. Do you know what I mean? It's and obviously there was other fighters there, David Hay, Froch, etc. But yeah, no, it was it was mad, but it was great to have Roy in Manchester, and he enjoyed it. And yeah, what a nice fella he is.
Absolutely. So before we move on to some fights coming up, we've not spoke since the build-up to this weekend just gone, and we've missed out Callum Johnson. So it'd be good to get a quick word on his victory, second round knockout, first fight in 2 years, his debut for Queensberry and Frank Warren Promotions. An explosive knockout when it came, but there was one or two spots above it there, the inevitable ring rust. What do you take from that fight and that victory, Joe?
I'm glad to get it out of the way, because on the build-up to it, I'd said to everyone, you've got a fella here, God help his opponent, because this fella's got so much frustration, so much energy, so much really. Callum Johnson's got a switch in him mentally, very much like Mike Tyson years ago. That switch goes, you can't pull him off you. You're going, and he'll keep going, as you see in the fight, till you're gone. And he has that about him. And first round was that. It was good. Now, that fighter that he fought, 32 wins, 24 by knockout. He was a good European amateur fighter on the amateur circuit for years. Only lost to Solomov and another good fighter at world level. And he knocked a lot of people out. We knew he could punch. And Callum Johnson walked onto a right hand. A great shot, bang on the button. That would have knocked a horse out. And Callum took it, recovered very quickly, and then put it back on him again straight away. So I think for Callum Johnson, and for me, it ticked a lot of boxes. He got his punches off. He took a shot. He got chin checked. He came back, recovered well, and he finished the job in brutal style, and it was a very, very, very good win. And straight away, especially for BT, when you've just seen for them at the moment, Frank, obviously, they've been unlucky. Obviously, Yarde lost, and Dubois lost, and Liam Williams lost, and who else was on? Denzel Bentley lost tonight. We've just got a kid that's rocked up here, been out of the ring 777 days, just walks up, gets in, bang, 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 bash, bosh, and walks out. And you could tell that the atmosphere, although there was an atmosphere, everyone was just like, wow. No messing about. Gets out. Who do you want next? Joe Smith. Anyone? Yeah, him. Beat we have him. No messing about. He wants it. Let's do it. Do you understand? And must be a breath of fresh air for Frank and also for BT. Obviously, we got him a bit of punditry work this weekend on BT. He said he felt really uncomfortable, but he came across well. And it's good for him because he's an exceptional fighter. Frank was very happy. And it does create that buzz. And like I was saying to Frank, when he fought twice in America, he registered very well digitally on the zone and that. He's got a good story and he can fight. And you've seen that when people suggest him and Joe Smith, the American journalists over there were going, wow, bloodbath, this, and this. But Joe Smith's a very good fighter. I think people think it's easy because of his last fight, but that opponent was a very good opponent, a tricky opponent, a hard opponent. We've seen Joe Smith perform well against Bivol, hurt him late, did well against Hopkins. Joe Smith Jr. is a hard fight. We say we'd like to fight him because the fact that we were supposed to have fought him a year, 2 years ago, I just think the styles of the two of them would gel for a fight that you'd be watching it like that with your hands through your eyes. It really would be.
Yeah, so again, a couple of things just to dissect there. Firstly, Callum Johnson, of course, he got the victory. There was some good promo from Queensbury as well. And then, of course, getting the pundit to work, as you say. Do you feel that's going to like bring the best out of him, that he's kind of with a promotional outfit now, that it almost put an arm around him and, you know, they're making a fuss of him?
100%. Yeah, you took the words out of my mouth there. Callum said that afterwards in an interview. He said it was good to be back here, good to see Frank and Andy and some of the old fighters. And he sensed a sense of like welcome home. He felt wanted and he was part of something. And Callum's been through a tough time, and sometimes fighters need an arm around him. And Callum had an arm put around him that night. And thanks to Frank and everyone at Queensbury and BT for looking after him.
Yeah, it's classy for you to say there. With Joe Smith, of course, not too long after the Callum Johnson fight, we've seen that Lyndon Arthur has been instilled as the #1 challenger. Would that make you deviate away from Joe Smith? Do you feel like you can surpass Lyndon Arthur when it comes to challenging Joe Smith? What's the situation like there?
Well, I think when you become #1, it doesn't become his mandatory. It's #1. I think Joe Smith's just dealt with his mandatory. So we'll have a period or a time, or they might make Lyndon Arthur versus Bullock next as a final eliminator. Just because you're #1 doesn't mean you're mandatory. Do you understand? So, listen, it is what it is. It's all up in the air. Everyone's in the chase. Callum would fight BTBF. Callum just wants to fight. In fact, Callum will fight anyone, and I think that's a breath of fresh air.
It's a fantastic attitude to have. Did you manage to catch the Bivol Richards fight? There's something I skipped past earlier.
I seen little bits of it, but not lots of it. I haven't seen lots of it, but I knew what Bill was like. But I'm also a bit of a fan of Craig Richards. I really rate him. I think he's underrated. I do think he's a good fighter. I'm surprised as a British champion, him and Boatse have never fought yet, because that's a good London beef type of fight. Do you understand? I think Boatse, Craig Richards is a really good fight. Especially now Craig's tested himself against Bivol. I think Boatse, that'd be a good fight for Boatse. Better than the kid that he's fighting coming up. Do you know what I mean? Fighting a Craig Richard would be a good fight for him, or Boatse Yarde now, but obviously they feel that fight's dead. But Craig Richards, Josh Boatse is a very good fight.
Absolutely, some great fights to be made at 175 pounds, and as long as they get put together, it's an exciting time. But let's move forward, Joe. Coming up this Friday out in Russia, Liam Smith, he goes in with Magomed Kurbanov. Somewhat slightly unknown Russian opponent, but a tough assignment for Liam. Where's Liam at with training, with his mindset, and ready to get back in the ring?
Yeah, no, listen, Liam is, we all know Liam. I feel Liam, when his back's against the wall, as we know him as spitting and snarling and that beef, we bring the best out of beef. We were seeing that in the Liam Williams fights, the Canelo, Munguia. That Liam, that nasty, spiteful Liam. When I think that's what we've got to see in this fight. I think Kurbanov is a good fighter. Obviously, Liam's been brought over on the B side. They all think it's the time to take a scalp. Liam's not made that weight for 2 years. Last time he made it, it was Sam Higginton travelling. They're all banking on that, and Liam being tied down the straight. But I think Liam's had his weight down early. I think the difference between the two of them, Liam's world-class experience fighting at the better level, fighting better fighters, sparring better fighters. And I just think Liam's a very smart fighter. He can work the fight out while he's in the ring. And I just think Liam's just going to know too much for Kurbanov. And I'd like to think Liam could stop him late on. He may have to with the scoring over there. But if the snarling, spiteful Liam turns up that we know, expect Liam to do a number on the kid.
Should be an exciting fight. One name that I watch.
It's a hard fight. It's a really hard fight because Kurbanov's a good fight, an exciting fight, a tough, carries his hand low, tries to shoulder roll, bit of an awkward style. But I think it's his big first step up as well. And I think if they've took Liam lightly, and I think it's an easy fact, they're in for a huge mistake. And I think it's just about levels. And I think Liam's been performing at the higher level. Yeah,
definitely. So, I was just going to say the one name that I wanted to chuck out there that was rumoured for a long time for Liam Smith and it just never come to fruition was Jesse Vargas. That fight with Eddie and DAZN, Matchroom was rumoured time and time again. For one reason or another, it just never came off. To the point, Jesse Vargas was even rumoured to be taking on Kieran Conway in the Canelo undercard, and that fell through. Why did the Liam Smith and Jesse Vargas fight never happen, to your knowledge?
I don't know. They even spoke about it when we were in Texas. When Callum fought Canelo, for whatever reason, I don't know, but I don't think it's dead in the water. There's still rumours and murmurings of it. I think if Liam comes through and Vargas has a fight, I think there's a fight there to be done in August, September time. So never say never. We'll just have to see. But first things first, we've just got to make sure that Liam Smith goes over there and gets the win. And like I say, that'll be a good win and get himself a world title fight. I was surprised on it really because I thought a Tim Tszyu Liam Smith fight would have been a good fight as a final eliminator. So there's them type of fights, and there's also the world champion there as well. So there's a world title still in Liam Smith.
So you mentioned Callum Smith as well. How's he doing since December? There's not been too much by way of, is he definitely moving up to 175? Is he sticking around at 168? How's he doing mentally? And is there any plans moving forward for Callum?
Yeah, he's all right. His arms getting better, and he's over in Russia. He's on the golf course, and he's got back into the gym and doing a bit of S&C and weighing everything up at the moment.
Interesting. We look forward to the return of Callum Smith. Let's move forward to this Saturday, Joe. As we sit here on Tuesday of fight week, we're not too sure if we've definitely got a fight, but Billy Joe Saunders and Canelo, is it going to happen? Isn't it going to happen?
For the money that Billy Joe's happening, I think Billy Joe's mum will be getting on the phone to Billy Joe like Derek Chisora's the other day. I understand, but listen, these are all the tricks. These are all the mind games. And that's it. And this is the power you have when you're the number one, like a Floyd Mayweather. You've seen it. And with Canelo, it was the biggest ring there was when Canelo fought Callum Smith. You give up ring walks, all that type of stuff. And it is what it is. So, it's nothing that we've not seen here before. I've just seen John Ryder allegedly is on a plane on the way over. If Billy Joe doesn't fight him now, we'll never fight him. I don't think anyone will want to do anything with him to pull out of a fight this short notice. It'll be a brave promoter to promote Billy Joe Saunders again. Do you understand? And Billy Joe's, listen, all this should have been sorted out in the contract. If it's in the contract, there's no one to complain about. If it isn't, Billy Joe's got a fair case. It's like, no, hang on a minute. Like, this is this. But obviously, Canelo's the A-side, like Floyd Mayweather. And sometimes it's just like, I don't know. It's just, you can bang your head on the wall, but it ain't make no difference. And it's down to you. Well, if you want to go, go. And, but you won't get this money again nowhere else.
Yeah, absolutely. Looking at it from Billy Joe Saunders' point of view, if this isn't in the contract and he does pull out by way of, his argument that the ring's too small, but it's not in a contract to kind of give him that security, do you think the bigger worry for him is the financial implications moving forward? Maybe a lawsuit from DAZN or from Canelo? There's a lot of money that's gone into this fight already before they've even stepped into the ring. Do you think there's a worry in Billy Joe Saunders' mind there that he could find?
No, I don't think so. I think Billy Joe just wants to fight. Obviously, the talks of people saying Tyson Fury over there when he fought Klitschko. Billy Joe just wants to fight. Billy Joe's pumped up his train. Mark Tibbs got him finely tuned, head in the right space, and they got a fight. They know they're in a fight. When they walk out of that arena, 75,000. We were there leading with 56. I'm telling you now, it's something else. There's something else. Billy Joe might land, but no one's whistling. No one's cheering it. It's just 70,000. I feel the judges should be made to wear headphones to not be influenced. They should be wearing headphones. That's one thing we'd have had in the contract: the 75,000 Mexicans that the judges can't be swayed. That's a WBC. I've done it a few times. But Billy Joe's a fighter, and he's most be enough money to go whether it is or it isn't. He's just arguing from a fighter's point of view, just what a fair chance of this. Why am I got to fight Canelo in a phone booth? Do you understand? If you're that good as a world champion, you'd beat me in a 24, 26, 22, 18-foot ring. You got your style. You fought Callum Smith in a 24-foot, the biggest ring there is anyway. So why are you wanting? So if you're that confident and that you're the pound for pound number one, what difference does it make? 20, 22 foot? Do you know what I mean? So inside the rope. So we'll see anyway.
Absolutely, Joe. You're better positioned than anybody, given that you took on Canelo with Callum Smith just December, just gone. Where do you sit on the side of the fence? Is Billy Joe Saunders the man to solve the riddle with Canelo?
I think Billy Joe's got a very good chance. I think Billy Joe has got good style. He's got good movement. He's got good shot selection. There's comes to a point where Canelo will hit him. It's how Billy Joe reacts to that. Canelo's very good. Subtle movements. It brings that pressure without you realising. It's slipping inside, outside. I very much like Sonny Edwards at the weekend. Billy Joe needs a Sonny Edwards performance. But the trouble is, Canelo isn't like Mithilani the other night. Do you understand? If he can keep away, I do feel Billy Joe points. I can't see the judges giving it Billy Joe as well as it does for this case of a riot. I think there could be scorecards of 116, 112, 115, 113. I think that could be type of scorecards that we could look at. You've got to remember Amir Khan, 6 rounds up. Billy Joe gets 5, 6 rounds up, as you've seen with Sonny Edwards at the weekend, and the tails between the legs. If he can huffle and puffle, but it's keeping that Canelo off then. And it'd be interesting to see what happens. But I can see it. It's a huge test for Billy Joe. He's against the crowd, he's against Canelo, and this is his moment. If he wants to do it and his mindset is set to do it, he'll go and do it. But will he be given the fight on the scorecards? I don't think so, no.
Yeah, let's first and foremost, let's hope the fight happens, Joe. Finally, just to touch on, the world is revolving, things are starting to open back up and, whisper it ever so quietly, but it looks like we're getting back to some sort of normality, which leads to the question of small hall boxing, M22 promotions. Is there anything in the pipeline? Is it a conversation that started to kind of get the ball rolling again with M22 promotions?
Yeah, exactly. No, definitely. There was plans of, I was going to do one in August, like a SummerSlam show, maybe do it outdoors, something like that. But then when you sit and you think about it, who's got to be here in August? Everyone's off on the holidays, aren't they? No one's got to stick around, are they, mate? And not only that, though, you've got the Olympics. It's the Euros happening as well. It's very sport and it's very hard and everyone's on holiday. So I thought no, I'll hang on till September till everyone's back off the jollies and back to normality, and hopefully everything's scrapped and it's a long distance. We can get back to normal and hopefully have a show in September. Yeah, no, definitely.
Exciting times, Joe. Well, that's all my questions answered. Is there anything you'd like to add to finish?
No, none at all. Just thanks for having me on, and looking forward to a good weekend's worth of boxing.
Absolutely, it's always a pleasure, Joe.
Hoping and Billy Joe and Liam Smith both pull it off.
Yeah, absolutely. 2 big British victories. Fingers crossed. But as I say, it's always a pleasure. Thanks for your time, and we'll catch up again real soon.
Cheers, Luke. Thank you, mate.